Hello, good people. Emmanuel Sani Safali bringing you a very special episode of the Promise Insurance Show. And this time round, we have seen lots of challenges in the year 2022. We started 2023, and we hope it's going to be a pleasant year. But there is a very interesting discussion that I want to bring today, and that is the topic about professionalism. And we're a society that has lots of professions, lots of services and businesses that we do. But do you know that there are shortfalls, there are challenges and shortfalls that we may meet while doing these services? And we are actually liable should anything happen that will affect our clients. Are you a doctor? Are you a pharmacist? Are you an architect? Are you a surveyor? Name it. As long as you're professional and you're providing a service, you are doing professional work, you have staff that are doing work on your behalf as clerks and all that, that can cause actually challenges for your customer, and your customer can sue you. So that's the topic we're going to discuss. It's quite interesting. We're a very litigious society. Okay, not yet as much as other countries, but we're getting there. People are beginning to know their rights. And once they know their rights and you're liable, this is a solution for you. We're going to talk about professionalism. And who is a professional in this day and age? If you do a simple Google search, you'll see that a profession is anything relating or belonging to a profession. Second definition is engaged in a specific activity as one's main paid occupation rather than as a part-time. So we know very many professionals. But do you know that the risks that encounter professionals? Many times people fear to deal with us because in our different professions, because we have not shown them that we have actually what we call professional indemnity. Now let me also just define simply what is indemnity. Indemnity is that security or protection against loss or other financial burden. And how does it arise? Let's look at this definition, indemnity, under a contract law. Indemnity is a contractual obligation of one party to compensate the loss incurred to the other due to acts of the indemnitor or any other party. The duty to indemnify is usually, but not always, co-extensive. Anyway, this is too much Luzungu. Let me just break it down for you in a very simple layman. We're going to understand what it's all about, why is it needed, who needs it. We know all kinds of different professions: doctors, architects, consultants, chartered accountants. And what does it cover? Professional negligence, loss of documents, stroke data, unintentional breach of confidentiality or copyright, loss of goods, name it. There's a lot of things that we can. Then, after we have gone to understand what it's all about and why it's needed, we're going to just look at a small example and the humorous side of it, the light side of why and sometimes why we lose out some cases. And then we shall look at, lastly, in the third segment, we shall look at the how. What does it take? How much does it cost whenever someone is going out for the professional indemnity? So keep tuned as we get into the next segment. Thank you. All right, you're most welcome back. Most welcome back from that segment. So I'm starting with this preamble. This is something I found very interesting just within this, towards the end of the year 2022, in December, there was this court submission, and I just wanted to start with what one of the lawyers or one of the judges pointed out in a humorous way. Yes, I'm not going to go so much in the detail, but this is the High Court of Uganda. This was dated 13th of December, and we looked at the plaintiff's final submissions. So he quoted The smell of forgery and fraud in the city. A Jamaican-American reggae singer, Shaggy, botanically known as Ovi Richard Brall, in his song It Wasn't Me, introduces a defense to exonerate himself from what he was caught red-handed doing. This is globally known as the Shaggy defense. In law, it is a strategy in which a person denies an accusation with a simple defense of "it wasn't me," despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. So, as we have heard of the Shaggy defense, definitely this is also covered under professional indemnity. Because we know people are very busy. Uganda is a very interesting society. We are not yet a litigious society. Litigious means we don't sue so much. We don't know the law so much. Possibly it's something that we have not, the lawyers have to do a good job about it, but I know there are lots of discussions around there. There are pro bono services and all that are going on, but we still need to know that whichever person, whichever provider gives you a service and a product, and that product does not meet your specifications or to the agreed levels or standards that had been agreed upon, you have the right to sue. Or you can actually be sued as a business or as a service. So what measures have you put in place to cover yourself in such scenarios? We are ending the year, we are beginning the year 2023, and we don't want to fall victim. So that is why I'm bringing this discussion, so that we can see and know how does someone go about ensuring the professional indemnity. What does it take? So we have looked at why we need and why these kind of professionals need this kind of service, and we have looked at the indemnity part. Indemnity is putting you back in the position you are at, and that is why the name we call it professional indemnity, to cover that incident, such that whenever there is any case or any battle, you can, instead of going to court, you can settle it out of court with an insurer. So we have looked at that. Let's get into the computations, how we look at the computations of the premiums that we charge in a year. We also look at those options. For people who can't afford all the annual premium at once, there are options like the insurance premium financing that we can look into using your financial card with the various banks that you use. So of course, I've just used a simple example. There are about 3 options depending on the limit of liability. So it could be an NGO as a consultant, it could be a law firm. Now I'm using a law firm because many times these are contractual obligations. Contractual lawyers understand what it means by a contract and what it means to sue, but also depending on the scope of work that you do, you must have an entity or your principal payer or the person you have entered in contract to with can actually sue you. So they can put a certain limit of liability. So depending on the firm, I've used an example of a firm of having a liability of 1 billion. There's one of 500 million and then one of 100 million. So you can see the premiums, how they can fall in line. Maybe as you can see, the first option, a package of 1 billion, the person who is getting into contract with the insurer will be charged 17.8 million, inclusive of taxes. One of 500 million, it will be 8.9 million for the whole year. Then for 100 million, it will be 1.8 million. So it's quite affordable. But maybe the catch is these professional indemnity policies are given alongside supporting business like office or risk, group personal accident, for workers, name it. You have to attach, because these are liability policies. What I mean by supporting business, we can't just cover a liability policy on a standalone basis. We can't cover it by itself. So we need to have some other businesses in line with your business. Whether you're covering the vehicles of the farm, we are covering other things on top of that. And then the other thing that I need to talk about when we talk about premium we need to know that many professionals, in this case I'm talking about the lawyers, for instance, many of them find a challenge paying this premium upfront. So we have introduced what we call premium financing, insurance premium financing, whereby we partner with a number of banks. They pay for your premium, and then you can pay them in 10 monthly installments. Of course, they will charge a small interest of about 8% per annum, and it can go lower once numbers increase. So rather than footing out 17 million for a package of 1 billion, someone can be paying about 1.8, 1.9 million for every month for the 10 months. Yes, and of course this requires for premiums above 1 million. So not to bore you so much into the details of what professional indemnity is charged, we have to know what are the extensions. Is it just the Ugandan law? Does it, what else does it cover? So whether there are omissions, because the truth of the matter, lawyers also get overwhelmed. Possibly there is not much information provided to them. They lose cases. Even a doctor can make a challenge, may make a mistake at his practice and he's sued. Yeah, we have seen a number of people passing on in hospitals for negligent acts of the nurses or for the doctors, but under that hospital, management of that hospital must have provided for professional indemnity services. So this is what it will be covering and what it will entail. I hope this has been of use to you. As we conclude, I need to tell you that there's also what we call directors and officers liability. This is a special kind of an indemnity or professional indemnity package that covers now the stakeholders of a business, the decision makers, the CEO, the financial controller can make decisions that can hurt the organization. So that is another package altogether. This professional indemnity is actually to cover you against the public or your stakeholders. Then there's what you call directors and officers liability. That will be covered next time. Welcome back from that insightful calculations and premiums charged. I know many professionals, some as lawyers, are very good with the law, but are not very good with the figures. But I appreciate you will understand how this works and the solutions that are available for you to pay these premiums in your cash flows that you can manage. Then we have spoken about the professional indemnity that is for a firm, but now there's something else that we can discuss at another time, but usually on a case-by-case basis. These are for institutions who have their directors and officers who sign on their behalf. These people are also liable to be sued. Should they cause loss for the organization, there's a special package we call directors and officers liability that we can discuss on a one-by-one basis. So for my contacts below, you can check on the link below so that we can understand what your business is all about and we engage at a deeper level. I thank you for tuning in this time round. Happy New Year. This is the year 2023. Wherever you're watching this, I hope that we shall get in touch this year and do business in a better way. Please remember to tune in to the U24 channel alongside the Promise Insurance channel on YouTube. And also remember to air in every Sunday at 6 p.m. on U24 for this show and any other proceeding channels and services that we shall be offering in the insurance industry. We remind you to hope for the best while preparing for the worst. I remain Emmanuel Sani Safali, bringing you the Promise Insurance Show. See you.